This is Jimbo JTech. We are back for video 7 here on Sonic Academy. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to take the concept of a trance stack and apply it to a lead melody. And in this case, we'll be creating the final lead melody that sings out over the rest of the song to finalize the musical message of this track. So let's dive in and take a look. All right, we are back, and in this video we're going to be looking at creating a final lead melody using a number of different layers coming together to form one single note melody. Now, if we just have a quick listen to where we're at in the track, it's definitely starting to feel like the finished song now. You can see I've done little punching holes in the notes in these bass lines for this last fifth gear section, just to make it a bit stabbier and a bit edgier compared to this sort of drop section here. So we need this sort of cherry on top of the sundae to finish this song off, and this final melody first found its roots in the breakdown. This was that kalimbox instrument that we were looking at in Pigments earlier. So perhaps unbeknownst to the listener, they have actually heard this melody already in the song. It was being teased in, and you sort of hear it more clearly just with the the bass pad and these swirly pads here. So there was a point in the breakdown where it was the focus of attention. So this final melody was already really sort of mapped out earlier on in the song when we were writing the musical essence. So we're taking that melody, and just like I did with the chord stack, I'm running it through an init patch in Anna 2 to begin with. So let's have a listen to the melody, which we'll be putting over the top of this final section. There we go. So quite an ambitious melody, and this section is a bit of work for the listener compared to these sort of easy to dance to rave sections. This section actually just has like a lot of stuff happening at the same time, but it's all been introduced before until this melody comes in. This is the first sort of really new element that's coming in here, and that's important. If you are going to have lots of stuff playing at the same time, you need to introduce things gradually to the listener. If you hit the listener with really more than 2 or 3 new things coming in for the first time at the same time, it overwhelms them because they don't know what to listen to. So this is kind of stepping it up to that point where it's sort of pushing the limits of how much stuff the listener can listen to at the same time. So for that reason, this fifth gear section usually needs to be sort of 30 seconds max, and then you need to get back into that easier to digest rave section afterwards. So once again, I'm bringing a sense of something with every layer that I've got: plucky, rocky, piano, soaring, and high trance. These did not come about very easily. I had to try a number of different sort of approaches with this, like I said, ambitious melody in order to get it to really work with the song. So I've recreated quite similar patches and sounds in Anna using simple preset patches. So pluckiness, I'll give you a listen to that first. This was a preset that I found. Now in my tracks, I'm always trying to avoid pushing sounds to be heard in the mix. I'm always, avoiding having them sort of artificially cut through. I want them to just sit in whatever space they're in doing their thing. And if I want things to cut through more, I can add extra layers of clarity or width or space or whatever. I've got a rocky distorted guitar preset here in Anna. Once again, nothing too crazy in the actual patch parameters. Sorry, computer's struggling a bit there with all of this stuff going on, with all of this trance epicness. I've got a simple piano sound, which I just used the Arturia Analog Lab for that. But, you know, so I often add a piano layer just so that there's a bit of sort of that piano sound, that real world sound cutting through with the stack. That Rocky is a bit loud. And the most important thing is that I can hear each of these sounds in the mix if I listen for them, even though I want the listener to hear it all as one sound. I've got a soaring sound. So this is, you know, a simple trance preset from the Trance pack, I believe. And this, you know, these sounds it's okay if they sound a little bit cheesy in isolation, because of the fact that they're all combining together. So if you do have a lead sound that feels a bit cheesy, you can once again usually wrap it in a layer of something classier if it's still serving a, you know, a certain purpose and you want to keep it in the mix. And then, you know, the final key to making this lead sound sort of cut through the mix was a high trance sound. So this is a bit of a sort of cheesy trance synth sound, and it's an octave up, which means that it sort of sings out over the top of everything else and brings clarity to the whole sound. So I'm going to throw that up an octave. And I'm cutting off those last couple of notes so that it ends in a nice way. So that's pretty much it. The only other thing I'm really going to do, you know, to these sounds beyond doing, you know, maybe a tad of processing here and there to make things fit into the mix, is I'm generally going to go over the volume levels of all of them a few times and make sure that everything is a sort of, you know, loud or soft, or, you know, the right distance from the listener if they're listening on speakers. And of course, I'm going to throw some fun, like, fat sidechain on all of that, so the whole thing really pumps for the finished thing. So that wraps it up for this lead stack video. Stay tuned for the next video where we'll be exploring the effects section.